Your little one is sitting quietly in the corner of the room, whispering to someone. The words come in full, clear sentences with thoughtful pauses, as if they're genuinely waiting for a reply, but there's no one else there. You lean in closer, heart beating a little faster, trying to catch the conversation. Suddenly, your child bursts into laughter at something that was apparently just said. Then, without turning around, they say in a perfectly calm voice, Daddy's listening. You freeze. You hadn't made a single sound. Most parents smile, pull out their phone to record the moment, and tell themselves it's just the cute face children eventually outgrow. But cognitive developmental scientists at leading institutions have spent decades studying this behavior. Their discoveries don't just reshape how we think about imaginary friends. They fundamentally change our understanding of the developing human mind and the power of early imagination. The common explanation is that children invent imaginary friends because they're lonely, bored, or can't distinguish fantasy from reality. But research shows this theory doesn't hold up. Studies in top journals like Developmental Psychology reveal that children with imaginary companions are not more socially isolated than their peers. In fact, they often score higher on measures of social understanding, empathy, and emotional interpretation. They aren't withdrawing from the real world. They're actively rehearsing it in safe ways that build lasting social skills, including better conflict resolution and perspective taking. These children also tend to display traits linked to extraversion, appearing more outgoing overall. When researchers analyzed what the children were actually doing, the findings stopped the field in its tracks. Your child isn't confused about reality. They're engaging in a sophisticated cognitive process that even today's most powerful AI systems struggle to replicate. While AI can generate dialogue, it lacks the genuine emotional depth, spontaneous perspective shifting, and self-generated social simulation that a young child performs effortlessly. In 2004, psychologist Marjorie Taylor and her team at the University of Oregon conducted a landmark study. They found that by age 7, roughly 65% of children had experienced an imaginary friend at some point. This isn't a rare quirk. It's common among both preschoolers and school-age children. When including personified objects, prevalence rates range from 46% to 65%, with consistent patterns observed across many cultures. The real revelation lies in the nature of these interactions. From a neuroscience perspective, the conversations resemble what adults do when mentally preparing for important social encounters. Children run rich social simulations, shaping responses, exploring emotions, and practicing different perspectives. These exercises build crucial skills that support stronger social connections, emotional intelligence, creativity, problem-solving, and conflict resolution. Later research shows that children with imaginary friends often demonstrate advanced theory of mind, the ability to understand that others have their own thoughts, feelings, and perspectives. This forms the bedrock of empathy, cooperation, and nearly every meaningful relationship. By conversing with someone who exists only in their mind, your child is training their brain to navigate complex social situations with greater ease and confidence. The foundations appear even earlier. In the first year of life, infants track invisible agents, respond to empty spaces, and engage in proto-conversations with objects. The earliest scaffolding of social cognition. An imaginary friend isn't merely a social practice tool. It strengthens key brain regions. When a child creates a consistent character with traits, preferences, and memories, and maintains it in working memory, they boost executive functions like focus, flexible thinking, and problem-solving. Studies show elevated prefrontal cortex activity during these interactions, the area responsible for planning, working memory, and emotional regulation. You laid the foundation. The imaginary friend is the scaffolding your child builds upon it. It's worth noting that not every child creates imaginary companions, and that's perfectly normal. Some express creativity through other forms of pretend play, storytelling, or real friendships. The key is that their imaginative capacities are nurtured in whatever form feels natural. Adults who once had imaginary companions often describe them as feeling subjectively real. A safe space for emotional processing, rehearsing difficult conversations, and practicing self-regulation. Psychologists call this externalized self-regulation. Your child is building an emotional toolkit from imagination alone. This often leads to greater emotional resilience when facing real-world challenges later on, helping them cope with stress, express big feelings, and develop healthier coping strategies. Through pretend play with these companions, children practice identifying, managing, and expressing a wide range of emotions, all in a risk-free environment, ultimately gaining better control and mastery over their feelings. Recent studies highlight that children engaging in more fantastical pretend play demonstrate superior emotion regulation skills compared to peers, as the imagination serves as a protected space to explore positive and negative emotions without real consequences. Cognitive scientist Alison Gopnik explains young children experience the boundary between imagination and reality differently because their prefrontal cortex filter is still developing. They operate with a broader perceptual field, a lantern consciousness rather than the narrow spotlight of adults, closer to a state of flow that many adults strive to recapture through meditation or creative work. This openness may even allow them to perceive possibilities that filtered adult minds overlook, fueling remarkable creativity, exploration, and innovative thinking that can last well into adulthood. Research also links such fantastical play to stronger storytelling abilities and adaptive coping mechanisms, with children who engage in it showing improved emotion regulation and greater prosocial behaviors over time. When your child says someone is in the corner, their experience is authentic to them. Far from being a sign of confusion, this vivid inner world reflects a highly active and flexible mind at work, one that is constantly testing social rules, emotional responses, and personal boundaries in a completely private and controllable setting. This phenomenon appears with remarkable consistency across diverse cultural and family backgrounds around the world, though the exact forms can vary slightly by culture, while in others they remain fully invisible friends with detailed personalities and backstories. The typical parental response, amused participation or gentle redirection, may not be ideal. Research suggests that children allowed to develop imaginary companions freely often show measurably better outcomes in creativity, emotional resilience, and social competence by middle childhood. These benefits extend beyond childhood, with adults recalling their imaginary friends as helpful tools for processing past experiences and building confidence in social navigation. Here's what you can do as a parent. Listen with curiosity instead of correction. Ask gentle, open questions like, "What did your friend say?" Or, "How does your friend feel about that?" Play along without forcing it. Treat the companion with the same respect you give a real visitor. For example, you might say, "Tell your friend we're having imaginary snacks today." Or include them lightly in family routines. Set gentle boundaries when needed, such as, "Imaginary friends can't clean up real messes. That's your job," without dismissing the friend's existence or making the child feel silly. This simple validation signals that your child's inner world is valid and worthy of respect, nurturing deeper security and openness. The imaginary friend isn't replacing real relationships. It's a rehearsal space for them. Every time you engage positively, you encourage your child to value the inner worlds of others as they grow into more compassionate and socially skilled individuals. Over time, these early imaginative experiences contribute to a stronger foundation for lifelong emotional intelligence and interpersonal success. You didn't raise a lonely child. You created safety and trust that lets your child confidently populate their world. That's healthy development in action, a sign of a lively, creative, and emotionally intelligent mind at work that will serve them well for years to come.